cloudy December morning, a slight wind blowing through a park, gently rustling through the lush green grass dotted with flowers. A 3-year-old is happily wobbling around with her mom, admiring the beautiful flowers surrounding her, oblivious to everything different with her. The weird curve of the left forearm, the double thumb, the deep stitches that tell stories of resilience. Instead, she remains fixated on the beauty around her, a happy child, unaware of the grueling hours of surgeries endured at a tender age, plasters wrapped her arms, making simple tasks like touching a thumb to index finger impossible. And yet, as the clouds part, revealing the warm winter sun, a miracle unfolds. The child kneels and, for the first time ever, unites her thumb and finger over the stem of a flower and plucks it. With a huge smile on her face, she presents the flower, a daffodil, a symbol of hope and new beginnings to her wonder-struck mom. Almost 13 years later, and that child stands before you, transformed not only in stature, but in spirit. No longer a toddler, but an international level table tennis medalist. It, it fills my heart with great pride as I wear the Indian jersey with my name etched in the back. Each thread a testament to the battles I waged. Allow me to recount my journey from the beginning, though, and you'll find it less surreal. My life had a rough start. I was born without thumbs in either hand and had only 4 fingers instead. My journey began with surgeries. The first, at the age of 1, lasted 12 hours and converted my index finger to a thumb. Exactly a year later, another 8-hour-long surgery took place in an effort to straighten my left arm. Honestly, kindergartner Mehak was fascinated with a Hrithik Roshan-style double thumb. I can't say the same for my peers, though. Mockery and bullying became an inescapable part of my life. But all of that changed on one fateful day when, at the age of 5, I started playing table tennis in my after-hours school academy. It was love at first sight, or shall I say love at first bounce. It was the perfect sport for me. My parents wouldn't worry much about me getting hurt, and I could practice with my brother. So for a while, it continued as a hobby. Eventually, though, it became something more. It became my voice, my sanctuary, my life, my world. The main reason for that was this burning, raging, fire like desire to prove to everyone that I was more than the different kid with weird hands or the kid with bizarre stitches. Time skipped to 2018 when I joined DPS. The school fanned the flames of my passion for the sport, propelling me into the competitive world of table tennis. I joined the school team, started playing in an actual academy, and the following years brought countless tournaments, each an unforgettable experience. There was a gold in the SGFI, a silver in the National SIG Games, and then, of course, my first ever National Para Championship 2019. I always laugh nostalgically when I reflect upon the preparation that went into that one single tournament. Morning practice in the school at 6, goofing around with my teammates, while 2 floors up, my awesome teacher made some classmate do my notebook work. 3 hours in the academy and less than 6 hours of sleep. I clinched fourth place, and it was a thrill. India number 4 at the age of 13. It wasn't always victories and medals, applause and trophies, though. Over the course of these numerous tournaments, I learned lessons for life. The first one, right after the thunderstorm called COVID-19. A teacher once told me, when you're pushed against a wall, you have to push back. And that perfectly sums up my persistence. In table tennis, in studies, and in my life, I turned around and fought back. I improved my physique, converted my 3 hours in the academy to 5 hours, and started listening to my coach's advice, which honestly I didn't do back in 7th grade. My efforts paid off with a silver at the Nationals in 2022. I ascended to India number 2 at the age of 15. And I won my first trophy after a decade of table tennis. The most important lesson I've learned is that life is like a bow and a quiver full of arrows. Do you know what happens when you pull an arrow back? The further you pull it back, the more distance it covers. It doesn't matter whether you're a sports person, a student, a parent, or a teacher. What matters is that you understand the importance of obstacles in your life and how each setback will propel you towards victory like an arrow launched from a bow. Remember, though, that no setback can be overcome without the sturdy bow, which symbolizes your support system. Family, friends, it could be anyone. For me, it was my parents, my brother, the DPS family, and all the teachers who had complete faith in me. And of course, my coaches, without whom I wouldn't have known how to hold a racket, forget playing in so many tournaments. Another fun lesson I learned as a 10th grader was that 7th grade was not at all difficult. I postponed playing in the internationals back then because I used to think 7th बहुत difficult है यार मेरे exams भी हैं मैं नहीं खेल रही internationals. But better late than never, because September 2022 saw a dream turned into reality. After weeks of stress, anxiety, and high hopes, I participated in the Greek para tournament. Greece, coincidentally my dream country. One thing checked off my bucket list. I may not have won a medal there, but a habit that was perhaps equally important. A habit that significantly impacted my game and was to forever change the course of it. Constructive criticism from players I had lost against. I remember hesitantly walking up to a Romanian player who was twice my age and asking where I went wrong and how I could improve my game. I got such great feedback. Focus more on attacking instead of just defending, and it helps to have a variety of services. It also helped me since my coach wasn't there. And soon, I started walking away from the table not utterly defeated, but with a huge smile on my face, as I realized that you change your experience in life through the path that you choose. And after that, I started to not just win with grace, but lose with hope. The, the tournament was eye-opening in another way. I realized that out there in the world, there were so many people who had it worse than I did. Wheelchair bound, unable to ever stand up. And this motivated me to go back home, make a list of things I'm grateful for. My family, friends, and everyone I loved was right at the top. Today, this habit has evolved in such a way that whenever I have a bad day, maybe because I got terrible marks or I lost a match in the academy, I go back home, make a list of things that went wrong, and then I make a list of things that I'm grateful for, with everyone I loved right at the top. And it included simple things such as maybe I got a compliment for my handwriting, or I mastered a new service at the academy. What I understood was that the list of things that I'm grateful for will always be much bigger than the list of things that went wrong. Do try this when you get home. It might just change the way you look at life. Earlier this year in June, I participated in another international tournament in Jordan. After 3 days of ups and downs, wins and losses, I stood third in the singles and mixed doubles and second in the women doubles. Even my wins motivated me to perform better, which I did. The first national ranking tournament in the history of para table tennis was held shortly after Jordan, where I won not one, not two, but 3 medals, one in each category. It was the ultimate dream. I won 2 silver medals. And guess what? My first ever national gold. I had never thought of it, even in my wildest dreams. Now, this may sound unbelievable, but since April of this year, winning in tournaments was not the only thing that mattered. Giving hope to my dad, who had lost his job and still funded each tournament despite his depleting savings, was infinitely more important. But my school had my back. My school was my biggest supporter. And now each time I hold my racket, each time a medal goes around my neck, my heart says a silent thank you. Now my latest and most important tournament of all, the Thailand Para Open. We began this tournament with high expectations and hopes that I might finally achieve a world rank. I had this rigorous regime of waking up at 4:30 a.m., fitness from 5:30 to 6:30, practicing till 7:15, rushing to school, school ending by 2, going back home, studying homework, and then practicing for a few more hours. I was at the peak of my game. My first match began against a player I had already won from before. I was so confident. Two words summed it up perfectly: utter disappointment. That match shook me to the core. I cried in the bathroom for 10 minutes. And honestly, it made me think that maybe I wasn't mentally ready. Maybe all my practice was not enough. Maybe all of this was for nothing. The women doubles category was no different. It was very similar to the singles where I did not even qualify for the semi-finals. The doubts came back in full force. Maybe I wouldn't win a single medal. Maybe I'd go back home empty-handed. Maybe I'd let everyone down who had faith in me. And soon came the last, but somehow the most important category, the mixed doubles. Our first match against this lethal combination of China and Hong Kong continued on the same trajectory as before. And then came this match against our country's own India number one mixed doubles duo. It was hopeless as we lost the first match by a wide margin of 5-11, then in the next one by 6-11. There was not even a flicker of hope left. All too soon, somehow came the third match, the do or die match. If we won it, we might have a chance of winning the next two. One moment, I still remember the scoreboard said 0-0, love all. And then the next moment, 8-10. It was as though the entire stadium was holding its breath. And out of nowhere, my dad cheered at the top of his lungs. Come on, Mehak, come back, fight back, you can do this. You know that sudden adrenaline rush? When you're absolutely bone tired and you've lost hope? But something jolts you back to life. I turned around and looked at my dad, my brother, and my coach, all clapping encouragingly. And then the tables turned. 8-10 to 10 all to 12-10. How is that even possible? We had won a match. But somehow that one match was enough to encourage us to win the next two. We had won. We had defeated the India number one mixed doubles duo, that to an international ground. That day, I realized the true meaning of a comeback. I had always heard that word being constantly shouted in matches, but I never truly experienced it, and I didn't even know its meaning. Comebacks are not just turning the odds in your favor. They are the outcome of hopes, anxiety, expectations, but most of all, disappointments. Remember the bow and arrow? All of your disappointments, all of your setbacks is just the arrow being pulled back, and then it goes ahead, your comeback. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Years from now on, when I share the story of my life with my grandkids around the dinner table, I know the questions they'll ask. And what I'll tell them is what I'm telling you. Why was I born with different hands? Because, as cliche as this sounds, the universe has sent me to prove to each of you that if I can do it, then what's stopping you? Why did I win my first national medal on my second try? Because in smaller defeats, bigger victories are built. Why did I not win a single medal in my first ever international competition? Because I had to learn so much more from my experience and from my defeat than I had to from my victory. And lastly, why am I standing here in front of you? Because I wish with all my heart that my journey inspires you and helps you realize that every setback is a stepping stone to success. Thank you.